Hello, YouTube. This is Uncle Barry tuning in with you today, just doing some more brain dumping on just some of the thoughts I've been having lately. Today, I kind of want to talk about Trump versus the cartels and mass deportations and the Mariann Budde, the priest that or the bishop that went up against Trump and kind of shamed him a little bit, and just my thoughts on how I feel like all those things are intertwined. Uh, just starting off with Trump versus the cartels. So, you know, I know a lot of people are upset with Trump in terms of his ideas of mass deportations and declaring war on the cartels. Me personally, I don't. Even though the cartels are very powerful, I just don't think that they have the the weapons or just the artificial intelligence that goes on in the U.S. military. Like it's just they won't be able to compete with that. So it'll be just kind of mass suicide on my from my perspective on that. And but I feel like between him declaring war on the cartels and the mass deportations, that there's been a lot of just illegals like burning flags or trying to protest their feelings on that. And I understand, like some of y'all may be frustrated or whatnot, but the truth is, I don't really understand what you're upset about if you came over here illegally in the first place. Recently, I saw a clip on YouTube where Cat Williams was, basically checking a heckler that was Hispanic and was basically saying that the United States was Mexico, pretty much. And Cat Williams responded, no, it's not Mexico. Now it's Phoenix or whatever. And the truth is, both of those men are right. The United States, or at least part of it, used to be a huge part of Mexico, and to this day, it's underneath the new rulership. To all those people who say that it used to be Mexico, the only way that you're going to take back, um, um, if you want to make certain states of Mexico again, the only way you're going to take that back is if you declare war on the United States, which, again, I said before, I don't think that that will end well in your best interest, I don't believe. But again, this isn't to show any like disrespect to anybody. Again, I'm not a part of no cartels or anything like that. So, um, if you're watching this and you're a part of that lifestyle, no, this isn't like trying to like, you know, check y'all or, insult y'all in any way. I'm just spitting out facts. But I will say that for the ones that are burning the flags, to me, it's very confusing because if you love your countries so much, like if you love Mexico or wherever you came from that much, and you came over here illegally and you're burning our flag, why didn't you just stay where you were at to begin with? I'm never gonna understand that. If Mexico is really just where your heart is, why not stay there? In fact, I would encourage you to stay there and try your best to make your communities better over there, starting with you. It starts one individual at a time to change the atmosphere. But that's just my 2 cents on that part. I'm not gonna get too into it because one, it makes me angry because I just don't understand it. Like, I mean, you say you want to come over here to have a better life or whatever, but then you're being totally disrespectful. I don't get it. But anyways, when you come into the country legally, it affects everybody. So I know a lot of illegal immigrants. They just love the Biden and Kamala Harris regime and Obama. Like I saw a lot of different immigrants that are being deported. Saying forget Trump and thank you Obama or thank you Kamala or whoever. And what those people don't realize is that Biden, Obama, and Kamala may have helped you get it over here. They may have helped open the doors for you to get over here. But if you ever decide to actually become a legal resident, their policies will not be in your favor. They may have helped you get over here, but the only reason why they helped you get over here is because the people who actually are from here and that are legal citizens are being mistreated over here in many different ways. And they're not doing these things out of the kindness of their hearts. They're doing it to help fill their pockets and make their pockets richer and to get your vote, because apparently once you get over here and you become a legal citizen, then you got the right to vote. You know what I mean? But you'll find out real quickly that just because you like them now, once you become actual legal resident, you're not going to like their policies at all because they won't be in your favor anymore. But anyways, I kind of want to talk a little bit about my experience at 31W. So when I was there, I met some really great people there. Most of them were Hispanic. They were very hard workers, and you know, I didn't have a personal problem with them, but I just learned a bunch of different stories that were kind of wild to me. Again, this isn't trying to disrespect the cartels or anything. I'm just spitting out facts on what I heard. So apparently, when an illegal immigrant comes over here, and most of them get their paperwork through the help of the cartels. And so they get over here and they immediately try to get a job or get to work immediately and they say that, well, I'm sending money back to my family or whatever. And some of them might be, but to my knowledge, some of them are basically just paying off their debts to the cartels that helped them get over here in the first place. And so when I thought about that, I was like, well, that's just making the cartels richer and the people in government that are allowing that to happen richer, but that's not helping the average resident that lives here. Because now we have a problem. There's too much. There's not enough places to stay. It's getting overcrowded. The jobs that should have been for legal residents are now being taken up by illegals. And don't get me wrong, like I appreciate all the hard work that they do. It's just you got to do it the right way, because if you don't, it just affects everybody in a dominoes effect in the wrong way. You can't come over here and have the mindset of just me, myself, and I. Like you got to think about your neighbor. And trust me, Americans that are actually citizens have to think about that as well. So it's not just you all. But I just thought it was wild at 31W when I found out a little bit more about the cartels and how they were moving in that way. I also used to work at Nissan in Smyrna, Tennessee, and I remember there were stories where I guess the train that came in to deliver car parts, there was always these stories about how there would just be droves of different Hispanics coming out of these train carts or whatever, and they'd just be running around like rats scouting everywhere trying to get away because they knew that they were over here illegally, so wherever they came from they had made it over and they were just trying to find a place to stay or whatever. I've also worked in the restaurant industry for a while, and obviously I've met a lot of different Hispanics during my time in there. And like I said, me personally, I like the Hispanic people. They never treated me wrong. I never had a personal problem with them. They've always fed me and made me feel like I was a part of their families and stuff. And it's been really great getting to know them. Me personally, if I had to describe my personal journey, I would say that it's equivalent to kind of like the penguin off of Happy Feet. The main character. He kind of got rejected by his own people, but he kind of found his little crew with the Hispanics, and that's kind of how I felt for a while. Like, they kind of took care of me in different ways that I wasn't really expecting. And I used to be a groundskeeper. Again, my experience there was okay. It could have been better, but I remember a situation where the construction company, because the facility was still being worked on or whatever. So I remember my direct boss and the boss or leader of the construction company that was actually, doing the work there. He was Hispanic and he got into it with my boss. And of course, that boss had a kind of a nasty attitude or an arrogant attitude. He's from New York, so I guess he thought that, everything's about New York and, a little bit old Tennessee, don't know nothing or whatever. So he talked his stuff, but, he got into it with the Hispanic dude over like some parking spaces or whatever. And I told my boss, I said, you need to leave them alone. Like, for all you know, they might chop your butt up acting silly. You know what I mean? And so those two basically shook hands and squashed whatever beef they had. But it also gave me a little bit of respect within that group of circle of people because they saw that I was a peacemaker in that situation. And I guess they respected that. So I remember meeting the patriarch of their family, and he's an older gentleman, kind of more quiet, more reserved. But somehow we got to talking, and I told him that I was trying to get into like landscaping or whatnot, and just lawn care in general at that time. And I asked him, like, what's a good way to kind of get started? And so he said that I had to follow the money, is what he said. So I started following the money. These people, they worked on like at football stadiums or colleges or big campuses or whatever. So they had a lot of experience in lawn care. But again, it was all ran by Hispanics. I'm thinking about, well, like, what about me, or what about my people, or just people in general? It seemed like the Hispanics were just taking over in that industry. Again, jobs that could have or should have been for ours were left to somebody else, and most of them, more than likely, probably weren't legal. But as I was starting to get into like lawn care and trying to learn more about that business, I realized that I could probably make some money off of it. But with the way things were going, as far as from a competitive standpoint, I couldn't compete with the Hispanics' wages and make an honest living. If I'm gonna do a yard for, I don't know, I'm just making up a number, like $100 a month or whatever, that same Hispanic might do it for like 25 or $30 a month or something. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, everybody's different, but that was just like a pattern that I saw. It's like, I can't compete with that. Like, I got to make money so that I can actually pay my bills and make a decent living for myself, and for the prices, because inflation is real. So I couldn't go backwards in my pay. I had to like try to keep up with it. But that's why I say, like, coming in illegally affects everybody. Now, if you come in legally, it's a different story. You know what I mean? But illegally, it just doesn't do anybody good. It throws off everybody. You know what I mean? But I'm a fisherman. I've said this before in some of my videos. And the other thing I've noticed is that some of my favorite fishing spots weren't as full anymore as they used to be. That's because, and now it's not just Hispanics or people that are coming over here legally. It's just a lot. It's a lot of people moving to Nashville. They're just from everywhere. But the thing that I notice about people who are more foreign is that they really don't fish like normal people fish around here. They usually get like those big casting nets, and they try to scoop out as much fish as they can, because they're trying to eat or whatever. And I get it, you're trying to do what you got to do to survive, but the whole point of fishing, or at least, if it's a public place, is, yeah, get some for yourself, but I mean, it's so that everybody can enjoy fishing. And so, literally, some of my favorite spots have been just kind of light lately, and I think it's because it's just been overfished lately. Um, and some of that has a lot to do with the illegal immigrants that have come over. But I've also been hearing a lot of stories just with a lot of Hispanics getting into car wrecks and stuff, and just the people that they hit maybe pass away, or they're just injured really bad. And so I was talking to a friend about that the other day, and she was basically saying that she felt like it was but it was like that because in your home countries, the driving laws are just different. Back home in Mexico, wherever you came from, you may not have had a stop sign or certain signs to tell you what to do or when to go or not go. Like, I don't know. I'm just hearing stuff, right? If that's true, then if you come over illegally, and you still try to abide by the laws of your home country versus what actually goes on here, that causes a lot of chaos. And the other problem is you got a lot of cops, at least the ones around here, who, if I get pulled over, they're going to make sure that I either get a ticket or understand like what I was doing was wrong or whatever. But if a Hispanic person gets pulled over and they just start, speaking Spanish or saying that, I don't speak any English, I would say 7 times out of 10 that cop doesn't want to deal with that paperwork, you know? And so that person could be a whole murderer for all they know, but they just let them go because they don't want to deal with the paperwork. To me, that's extremely lazy, but that's just my opinion. Um, so how does this tie into the more recent events with the Mariann Budde lady, the bishop that kind of got on Trump's case? So the thing about, she recently uh, got caught or allegedly caught collecting over 53 million in government programs in 2023 for immigrant resettlement. So for all you immigrants, so when she got up there and was trying to ask Trump for mercy, she tried to sound like she was doing it for the Lord and all this. And me personally, I could see right through her. But to have this come out, that lets me know this has nothing to do with the Lord. It has everything to do with filling her pockets up. And to me, that spreads a light on a much bigger problem when it comes to, because the cartels have their hands in politics as well. So what that says to me is that there's a problem in politics. There's a problem at your religious leaders that just keep making about that daggum dollar all the time versus doing what's right. Like you just sell out for any dollar. You're just prostitutes. You just sell out for anything that's going to pay you, including trying to pip out the word of God. So for me, when this lady got up there and was trying to be a hero, like I knew she was full of it when she kept talking about, the gay and lesbian and all that type of stuff. And I'm like, dude, what's that got to do with Christ? You know what I mean? I mean, if you're asking for mercy, you need to be talking to God to ask mercy in that situation, not Trump. So I didn't know I couldn't put my finger on it, but once I found out about the $53 million, I mean, for me, it was like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now we know what the motive is. It's that money. So I would say to the illegal immigrants, I mean, me personally, like I said, I don't have a problem with you in terms of just you as a people. I would just encourage you all to do it the right way. If you have aspirations to come over to the United States, we would love to have you. If you want to be over here, just do it the right way. Just come over legally. I know it may take some time, but you know, good things don't always come fast. Sometimes it take some time to kind of come to you. You know what I'm saying? So be patient. You know what I mean? Just do it the right way, and I promise you, it'll be worth it in the end. You know what I mean? I met plenty of Hispanics who came in legally, and I respected them for it, and they're doing well, and they don't have to worry about being deported because they did it the right way. And so, um, if you're a believer, I say to continue to pray for the leadership, whether it's Democrat, Republican, you know, the gangsters that rule your neighborhoods, your bishops, your pastors, your bosses. Just continue to pray for your leadership because, you know, some of us make bad decisions thinking that it's going to give us a more profitable outcome when really it just kind of poisons the community. So God says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. So if you're a child of God, just continue to be the salt of the earth and spread your peace that God gives you. Until next time, y'all keep your eyes on y'all. Love yourself, love each other, and y'all stay blessed.